July 12th, 2022. We're going to talk about groceries and fear porn. Title of the video, let's talk about groceries, quote unquote, fear porn. Okay. We know what happened with the kerfuffle, okay? All right. We know what happened with MCFD and the social worker. She ended up giving me a voucher, right, for $300, okay, to help pay for a baby gate, which I bought. One, to try it out to see. Honestly, I don't think it's going to be high enough for some of the things that I need, but I got that backup plan with the baby crib rails, right? I have the rails from the baby crib. So I'm still looking at using those in certain circumstances. So I'm combining the two. Because I don't want to cage Mari in, but then, like, for example, yesterday he was on the couch, you know, being the Houdini baby that he is. And, like, since this all happened with the seizure, I've been going back and forth like the good old days when he was an infant. I used to go back and forth every 5-10 minutes, right? I'm almost at that every 5, 10, 15 minutes, right? Back and forth, checking on him, right? Wherever he is, whether he's in the bedroom or whether he's in the living room. So anyway, I went to go check on him. I had just checked on him. And what do I find? I find him sitting up and like he's turning himself around really fast. I don't know how he's doing it, but he's doing it. So anyway, he turned himself around somehow from this position to this position, and then he sat himself up, and he was just kind of like on the rail, sitting up, looking around, doing whatever he was doing. Now, the thing about that rail is, if his legs, I think what happens is, he's this way, he turns this way, he slides down. He knows if he gets his legs down between the rail and the couch, because, you know, they're just playpen rails, right? Wood playpen rails. So there's, you know, there's a gap between the pegs, right? So anyway, he slides down. He knows if he gets his feet down between the couch and the rail, and then there's the wheelchair that holds the rail in. Anyway, and then he sits himself up, and he just holds himself there, and he's looking around, doing whatever, laughing and giggling. So, in regards to this rail that I just got, honestly, because I'm looking to put a higher rail there, or at least extend it. I don't know. Figure something out, but I think the one that I have, I don't think could even work in the living room. I really don't. First of all, you wouldn't even be able to attach it because it has to go around the mattress itself. Anyway, okay, so we got the rail. And like, I'm buying groceries with Amari on mine. And of course, Andre is growing, so he's like starting to eat me out of house and home. He's always hungry. Not that he's eating me out of house and home, but, you know, he's growing, right? So, I'm like, okay, Andre, we're going to just start boiling potatoes, all right? And so, I boiled up a bunch of potatoes, mashed them with butter and whipped cream, and fed it to him, and he really liked it. Of course, Mari likes it, right? And then put them in something else, and he ate it, and then he was hungry. I said, well, just go grab a potato, right? I left them in the water in the pot and put them in the fridge. And grabbed a potato and munched on it. He said, oh, this is good. I said, yeah, it is good, Andre. You know, and potatoes are good for you, like in terms of, like, bodybuilders eat potatoes and whatever. So I just told Andre we're going to start eating, you know, more potatoes to fill in that gap of, you know, he's wanting to always munch down on things, right? Because of his growing spurt. So anyway, I don't even know why I'm talking about potatoes. So, anyway, I'm in the grocery store, and I'm wheeling and dealing with, I got a little bit of money over here, and I got a little bit of money over there. GST, hold on a minute. Okay, I don't know what day it is. It's the next day, I think. We're going to get back into that video. Let's talk about groceries. Fear porn. That's what I'm going to title it. So, little recap. What was I talking about? I don't know. Groceries. I went shopping because I had that voucher from MCFD, Ministry of Children and Family Development, for $300 to buy either, well, to buy a baby gate. Well, it's a rail. It's for the bed, right? So I'm going to try that. I only bought one because I wanted to see if it would even work. And then we were thinking of a baby monitor, but that's not going to work. That is impractical. So I passed on the baby monitor for now because of several reasons. One, I don't like the idea that people can hack into them. They can hack into them whether they're Wi-Fi'd or not, apparently. So, now I do think I have a baby monitor that picks up sound, but it's not visual, and it's from way back in the day, from wherever. Now, whether I gave that away, I don't know. Or whether I put it in a box and it's just somewhere, I don't know. So I'm going to keep an eye open for it. But other than that, no. Because you'd have to have somebody looking at it 24/7. And that's just impractical, right? In terms of, if you're in a hospital, you know, they have all their machines and a whole bunch of people running around. And then, yeah, maybe it's more practical. But even then, those machines will beep, 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 and nobody comes. So, you know, right? I mean, nothing is perfect, right? So, you know, like, it just, I'm here in one of my cupboards wanting to put away this because I bought a case of these, to which I want more, because I like to give these to Amari, and they're convenient. And I always go for the maple, right? I always go for the maple ones. Okay. So I'm just now making room in my overstuffed cupboard for these, so I have them handy, because this is something that I use often if I can get to them, right? So anyway, okay, I'm in the grocery store, and like, the best I've been to in the last 4 years, 3 years, seriously, is a, hold on a minute. Anyway, that was Amari. He's an early bird when I'm an early bird. He woke up. He was actually playing in there. So I picked him up to give him a good burp. Only he didn't really burp, because he can't burp himself. Especially the deep burps, the big burps, right? And I sung to him, good morning, how are you doing? Good morning, Amari. Good morning, what are you doing with the blue sky? Good morning, Amari. How are you doing? Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, let's get back on topic here. So, what is that? Did he? Oh, woe are my troubles. Okay. So, I go to the grocery store. Now, keep in mind, oh boy. Keep in mind, I haven't been to a big box store in a long, long time. I've been to Nestor's, which is just your local supermarket that's not that big, that has some empty shelves or compromised shelves. And of course, the cost of food is expensive, right? And then there's a Asian grocery store that's middle of the road. It's not really that big, but and every time I go in there, they harass me to wear a mask. I get like harassed by like 7 different freaking employees. Right? And what do you call it? And that's it. So I go into Superstore because that's where this voucher was written for. And like it's packed full of products. You wouldn't know that there is a issue within our supply chains and all this other crap, right? On a global scale. And we're not just talking a local scale here. We're talking about that fear porn with the possible threat of nuclear war, with the ports backed up, with shipping containers costing $20,000 per container versus $3,000, diesel fuel shortage, gas, petroleum products, repair parts like chips for this, with everything being computerized, they need chips to fix things. That's why Betsy was a good car, because those are all organic parts to create a motor and to run a vehicle without computer chips. Right? So, oh my God, there's more in there. Oh, what am I thinking? Oh, let's leave those ones there. Look. This is just some of them that I have. That's tuna, I think. Yup. What's the date on it? I can't see. And then just, the inflation part of the ramifications around all that. And not just in one area, but in all areas. Just like when you go to the grocery store, it's not that the butter went up in price, it's everything in the milk product aisle went up in price. Except for maybe the Cheese Whiz. The Cheese Whiz didn't go up in price. Tisha says, why are you buying 3 of them? I said, well, because, it's good to store. It's easy to store, right? And that's the best for Amari in terms of a cheese outside of a sliced cheese, because if I get into the mozzarellas and those other cheeses, they gum up, right? And that's, so for convenience, it melts nice and it gives them those calories and just, yeah. So anyway, I'm trying to make in here a whole 2 rows full of beans. And then I'm going to have a few more cases downstairs by the time I'm done with beans, like in a can. I don't need to buy dry beans of any kind outside of, I don't know, maybe another 25 pounds, 50 pounds of black-eyed peas, but other than that, I'm pretty good. I'm good to go. In terms of food storage for long term and through hard times, to which, sure, that grocery store was full of food, but do you know how much money I spent for very little food after it was all said and done? When you really look at what I bought, because I'm like rolling my eyes thinking, okay, the bill was $893, people. That's why I'm doing this video. Right? I expected maybe 5 or pushing 6 with the baby gate, with the baby rail, right? But not almost $900 for what I got, right? I'm not complaining. I'm just saying that's the fear porn. Because if I didn't have this food prep scattered throughout my house, then I would be really, really concerned. Because that's a hefty bill to keep up with. And if you're just starting off in the game in terms of food prepping, it's going to be very hard to build in that food prep when you're having to spend all that money just to be able to eat from week to week to week. Right? Tisha wants to get into some food prep now. She knows I have it, but, you know, she's trying to be independent, right? So, and there's only so much room in an apartment that you can store food, right? So anyway, she's going to get herself some buckets. And so I'm proud of her because she's thinking about it, right? And she's, you know, she's trying to do it on her own and whatever, right? But at the end of the day, I wouldn't want to be in a position where I'm just starting out. I just wouldn't. Because when you do food prep, you do kind of have to buy in multiples. That's how you build your stockpile. And you do it over a period of time, which extends into years, right? To the point where, you know, you have tuna that you didn't even know that you had. Because there's another, oh my God, 6 more cans in the back. And I just pulled out, I don't know, 6 cans, whatever it was. And I know I got tuna in a whole lot of other places in this house. So, like, when I go to the grocery store, whether it's a small store or a big store, it doesn't matter. I don't have to go into the fish section, the canned fish section, outside of, I like to always look for that cheaper salmon in a can, because that's something Andre will eat with mayonnaise. Obviously, Amari loves it, but Amari will eat anything pretty much when it comes to fish. Right? Especially if I'm mixing it with, like, he loves, you know, I don't give him a lot of tuna, but I do give him more salmon. I don't actually cook with a lot of tuna. I keep the tuna around just as that backup for the protein in the event of things really do crash in the economy. And, you know, it kind of goes down to some tuna is better than no tuna, right? Like some food is better than no food. So in a situation like that, that's where you would be like, oh, thank God we've got tuna. But outside of that, I had this tuna buried way in the back of this cupboard. You know, and I'm debating whether I should, and I should just leave those, I'll leave those 6 cans there. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put all these in 2 rows so that, you know, I can use them on a regular basis when I want for convenience purposes. I do want to get into my little bean pots. Oh, they're beautiful, right? And cook my own beans in a traditional bean pot in the oven on low. But obviously, you know, I'm a busy woman, right? There's only so many things I can do in a day. And I'm working on clearing out the kitchen, and it's taking a little while, right? So that's good. So, we, you know, in the meantime, we have these, and I bought these mainly for Amari and mine. Andre doesn't, he's not really interested in eating these. I will eat them. Amari eats them. Good for building in, you know, that fiber. Oh, what are the calories on this? I don't know. I'm going to look right now. I'm not going to rush with this video. It's not really an important video outside of what's important about it. Well, fear porn, in light of everything that's going on, like, don't think that I don't think that I might have to bug out downstairs with my grandkids in terms of war, nuclear war, because that's still tugging at the mind, in the back of the mind. Okay, for how many people it's tugging on, I don't know. But for anyone that cruises the internet and listens to, I don't want to say alternative media, but, other people's opinions that do more research than is required of the average person in order to be in line of what's on a global sense in terms of how, if war broke out over there, how would it impact Canada, for example, or the United States, and da-dee-dee-da-da-da, right? So, it is possible that something could occur. So with that said, if I had to bunker in, I could, seriously, I could feed my family for 6 months to a year without ever going to a grocery store. Literally. Just by being frugal with the things that I have and spreading it out. And growing, like we could say, microgreens, or we could set up a more sophisticated hydroponics system with or without hydro. Of course, we've got the land, but that's only usable at certain times of the year. I don't necessarily have housing security because, I'm a, what is that called? I'm not an asset to my landlord when she can get $4,500 a month compared to $1,950. So oh boy, the brain's not working right now. I don't want to say a loss, but in a financial way, I suppose short term I am, but not long term, because at the end of the day, at some point she's going to sell her house and make a profit, to which I paid that mortgage, to which I get nothing from that, okay? I've already put in over $500,000 in rent alone in this house, okay? But I get zero equity. So, but, you have to just work around those things. Chance it. That's why I'm planting the garden. Considering everything that was happening with, get out, bring in the bins. I'm still planting the garden. I'm trying to fit in, some things that I need to do, like building things in the yard, right? But of course, there's only so many hours in a day, right? So I'm doing what I can, and after this little, I don't want to call it a charade, but after this charade with Amari, with that paramedic, sicking the hounds on me, I mean, obviously I got depressed, right? And I feel threatened, right? And, but it's being caught up in that web again, and sometimes, you just can't really do anything about it other than what you're doing. So I went with what was comfortable in terms of how I was going to deal with my issues, my problems. And that was food. Right? Food. Just build in that safety net where you can. I'm trying to figure out how I can do this where it's easy to get to for what I want when I want it. But I'm so tired. So yeah, $893. I get home. It's funny because I bought, oh geez, things by bulk that were already prepackaged, and they had Brazilian nuts there. And of course, I've always got a Mario on my mind, right? And I'm like, oh, well, we got the cashew nuts, and they grind up really nice. And, why not give him a Brazilian nut once in a while, right? Just grind up one Brazilian nut and add it into his food. That adds in that little extra calories, right? And so I pick up 2 packs. We're going through the till. It turned out to be $32 for these 2 little bags. I'll show you later, right? Of Brazilian nuts, right? And I'm like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Tisha gets stressed out with me, eh? But she wanted to go work out at the gym. And here Mom is going, and because I can't see, right? I'm having to go real close and look at things. And I'm touching, and I'm, right? It's taking me that much longer to absorb what's around me. One, I haven't been around it for like over 4 years, so it's like being in Candyland, right? You want to see what every candy is, right? And then you have to struggle to see how much it is, and you're getting into your kilograms and your grams and your pounds, and if it's this much in weight and it's cost this much and this is this so much and this weight, and which is the better deal. It's better to buy 2 of these at this price versus 1 of these at this price, and you get more for your money. Tisha doesn't think like that, right? She's, I just grab what I want. And I'm like, yeah, because what are you doing? I'm like, well, I'm seeing which is the right? Because I don't mind buying 2 versus 1 if I'm going to get a better deal out of the 2, right? As a matter of fact, I'll probably buy 4 or 6 or 8, right? Depending on what it is. Like these beans, for example, I wasn't satisfied with just 2 cans of beans. I wanted a whole case. As a matter of fact, I probably wanted 3 cases, but I settled for 1, knowing I'd come back and buy more, right? That's how you food prep, right? And those other ones would go downstairs. In the event that, whatever is going on that seems to be, Canada is somewhat insulated, right? Like we're not hearing about going into a fuel shortage like in Europe, in the UK, right? We're not hearing about a diesel shortage like we're hearing about in Florida. I'm giving you examples, right? And how the gas reserves for the United States of America is being shipped over to India, China, or wherever. It's just to another country through Biden, right? That's taking away from the American people, because once those reserves are up, because they've been having problems with, processing plants, whether food processing plants, fertilizing processing plants, or gas processing plants are being destroyed in a short period of time within the last year or less, and it's coming in multiples in succession of each other back to back. As any gas reserves you have, or oil or whatever it is that they're shipping to another country, as the gas prices themselves that are already on the market are going up in price along with everything else, I don't see Canada coming to the peak yet, whereas the United States is closer to the peak in terms of that pressure cooker, that sooner or later something's just going to snap, right? So there's no real urgency for people out here to prepare on average. And if there is, they're staying quiet on it. Like the Punjabi community, for example. Are they preparing for a natural disaster, or are they just living the good life for the moment? Because that's within their religion. You live a good life and then die, and that's it. There's nothing left. You're gone. There is no afterlife. There is no God. There is nothing. You're gone. So that's why they're supposed to live a good life while they live. So do they take it one day at a time and never prepare for nuclear war, for a diesel shortage, for lack of food? Are they not preparing? I'm just, right? And they're just, or are they, and they're just not talking about it? Do they think that their network of little food grocery stores and farms and their businesses and all that, that's going to be enough to preserve their culture as everything else around them is crashing down in terms of the economy and right? No, I don't, I'm just rambling. I can't figure out what I want to do here. I just know I want these close by. All right. So, we'll do it that way. And then we've got corn back there. That can stay there. So, I don't have a problem doing this stuff. And here's one that's bent. I can feel it. And after what happened, going to the grocery store and just shopping, I don't know, it was okay until I got to the till. I don't regret it, right? But it definitely makes me appreciate what I have. You can't imagine. See, I'm trying to give Amari more corn. This is just one means of doing it, so I'll leave these ones out. But of course I have to grind everything up, right? And then, just, I don't know. I got a lot of food prep in here. I think we're going to take this tomato sauce. Where is it? I just seen it. Right here. Look at that. From 2014. I don't think it's oxidized underneath there. And boil up some macaroni. I got some tomatoes there from the grocery store. Chop them up with some garlic and whatnot, and just make a little macaroni with tomato sauce. And yeah, I think I'm going to do that. That's from 2014. I want to see what it's like. Oh, look, I just see some beans, more beans. Here we go. I had them in the back. I have these ones. This one's in tomato sauce. So keep those handy. Oh yeah, I was going to say how much are the calories in these things. Let's see. 160 calories for a half a cup. A half a cup would be too much for Amari, but a quarter cup, so that's 80 calories. That's good. Yeah. That's real good. So, now I bought a bunch of not hamburger, bacon. If you bought 4, you got it at $10 a pack versus $14 a pack. So of course I grabbed 4. Tisha's just rolling her eyes. Right. So, I think what I'm going to do, not that I have time, but I'm going to do it anyway. Because I seen this little video on YouTube where I think it was potatoes, broccoli, crunched up bacon, some kind of cheese, made a nice little potato bake with it, right? Versus freezing the bacon whole and then unthawing it and then using it. I think for meal preparation and to spread it out, right? I think it would be in my best interest to grind up, because I've got like 5 packs of bacon in there, okay? Because I bought a different brand too, right? I think it would be a good idea to grind up maybe 4 of them, or at least 3, and then prepackage them into smaller packages and freeze them that way, so that when I want to make a potato, broccoli, or whatever, could do potato and carrots, could do potato and anything really, and then a little, crumpled up bacon and cheese, if you have it. Oh, that would be so good. And it would be convenient just to grab the pack, fry your bacon, throw it into your food, and away you go, right? Versus, having to cut, and you unthaw the whole piece. So needless to say, I created myself a little extra work here, because I'm now like, okay, this is what you're going to do, because economically you'll stretch it further, and you'll enjoy your meals better, in terms of it will just be enjoyable when you want to bring in that comfort food, right? Especially if times get tough. Oh, something fell. What was that? Right? Because times may get tough, even though we seem like we're insulated out here. I don't know about that. This is ground fried tuna floss with seaweed. It must have been my T&T days. I don't know where I bought this from. It's never been opened though, so it's fresh. Right? But for the amount of money that I spent, people, I didn't get very much. That's why I'm doing this video. My only consolation around it is that I don't have to do that very often. And like, I do plan on going back, because I need soy sauce. And in that situation, I'd probably buy 5 to 10 bottles, depending on what it is. And I just put them away, and I'm good to go. Definitely want more of these beans, just because, right? We know why. I never got to go through any of the inside aisles. None. I just went, right? And by that time, right? And it costed me that amount of money. We'll just say $800. It was $90 for the baby rail. $800 for what I bought? I don't know. I can do 3, 4, maybe 5. That's my usually big shop range in terms of if I want to go out and buy shit. But anyway, I'm just glad I don't have to worry about stuff too much, right? Every now and then, if you have stuff like this in long-term food storage, and they're way in the back of the cupboard, we went through this before with that cupboard over there, okay? And especially things with acid in them, with tomatoes, you have to pay attention, because the acid will eat through the can. But stuff like this is usually pretty good. These were the red kidney beans, right? There we go. Stuff like this is usually pretty good, but it's a good idea to take the time just to make sure they're not bulging. Because if they're bulging, don't open them, just throw them out. Obviously, if they're leaking, you're going to have to clean that up, right? Oh, what else is in there? Jars. Everything on this side is jars. Everything on this side is trying to just kind of do cans. So I guess the bacon was a good deal. That was okay. The bacon was a good deal. But I want to grind it up. But I have to get out into the dirt today. So and plant some more stuff. I was so tired yesterday, I just basically laid around and did nothing. Rested, slept, caught up with sleep. All right. I think Amari's left hand is kind of still swollen. I don't know. I mean, he's using it, but I don't know how long it takes. But then he doesn't use this one very much either, so even still, he's starting to fuss in there. I can hear him. Okay, so I'm going to just turn this off, focus on this. Obviously, I'm thinking about this stuff, right? And, I don't know, maybe talk more about this, because I'm probably not saying everything I want to say in regards to that fear porn, right? Especially when society is, I don't want to say asleep, but not necessarily being aware. Because the illusion is masking over the danger. Yeah, that's kind of how I feel about it. So, we put the more items that are higher in calories, I would think, where it's most easily accessible. So, on this side are all the Heinz beans, you can see. And then we've got the corn, which is high in calories. Then we just got those miscellaneous cans of kidney beans and those kind of beans, right? And then on that side over there is all my jars with the food prep, and I don't even know what's down there. Okay, so I'm going to try and finish this video. Seriously, big old scatterbrain here. It's because I'm working hard right now, people. I'm in the yard planting. Planting as I'm being stalked, okay, by somebody that's completely delusional. Like, completely delusional. We're going to talk about it, okay? It's enough that we have fear porn in the economy when it comes to future food shortages because of the supply chain being compromised through various political agendas. Okay? And then it's another thing when you live a life like mine, where, you know, you're overworked, clearly. It's not like you're a spring chicken, okay? So being overworked is just double in terms of when you're young and you're overworked, it's different than when you're older and overworked because it's compound, it's doubled. So whatever you were feeling when you were younger, you're feeling it twice as hard when you're older. That's what I'm trying to say. So with that, because I have a yard, you know, and last year people, I mean, I didn't spend no time in the yard last year. Hardly anything. Right? It was all grains and beans. I did a lot of beans, the peas, you know, the quinto, just the oatmeal, just all the different various types of wheat berries, the buckwheat, you know, that was like 10 straight months of food prep. When the social worker came over, Greta, right? You know, the subject of food came up, right? And I said, yeah, last year I spent 15 grand. She goes, her face dropped, right? She goes, what? I said, yeah, 15 grand on food prep last year. In terms of the dry stuff, right? The stuff that can sit for a long time. Providing you store it away to the best of your ability, right? And I'm still at the tail end of it. I have one more box of wheat, or it could be rye. I'm not sure which one it is. I just know it's one more box of something that I have to open up and still put away. Other than that, I've got the organic cornmeal put away in terms of in their jars, right? We just did that wheat, okay? It starts with a K, whatever it is. All right, that's all put away. I'm grabbing up food buckets, food grade buckets that I found in my travels when I was walking to and from the store. There was a whole bunch of food grade buckets that were outside. And I brought them home. I was going to use them in the greenhouse with the tomato plants and change my buckets around, but I've decided to start bringing them in, washing them, and looking for lids, right? Because, you know, you go online on Amazon to buy buckets, and for 4 buckets they want like $125 or something dumb like that. 2 buckets they want $100. Like, come on. So I'm on a bucket hunt, right? But anyway, you know, now I know it's late in the game to be planting, but you have to keep in mind it was very, very cold spring. So much so that I think it compromised. One of 2 things happened to my cucumbers that I planted in the front. Either it got too cold, and because cucumbers are a little, but then I'm missing a whole bunch of beans too, people. Like, you know, with this girl openly admitting that she came into my yard and splashed bleach around from spot to spot. And I know she did it, people. I know she did it, okay? That's her style. You know, when people get to that stage, they don't stop. They just don't stop. Just like with the stalking on the YouTube, the antagonizing, okay? It doesn't stop. And that's why I'm talking about her. Because she posted another video at New Nations Unity so she can keep herself in the search engine under videos, right? Think that she's being smart and powerful. Because nobody does anything about it, and she can do it, and she can continue to do it. Is she posting some stupid video? Right? Because, you know, she's listening to my videos, people. In my last video, I was talking about what could have triggered a seizure in Amari after all this time. And, you know, if I had to put it on anything, it would have been the birthday party celebration at the park, with him being held by basically a stranger. Even though I knew him, Tisha knew him, and everybody else knew him, Amari didn't necessarily know him. You know, and just the stress of it all in terms of new experiences, that type of thing. I don't know. You know, and then, of course, I related that to this individual who is a complete stranger. If Amari was to come into contact with her, right? And she's trying to convince herself that Amari loves her. Not that she loves Amari, but that Amari loves her because of those visits that we were having under court order, where Julian's mother, right along with his sister, were picking up or dropping off Amari so that Julian could have his parent time. But let me remind you, none of that would have happened if Shimei was alive. You see, that's the thing, people. When Shimei was alive, there was no connection between Julian's sister and Amari. There was no connection between Julian's mother and Amari. Because those people, destroyed that connection when Shimei went over for that 2 days before she was manhandled by Julian as his sister was trying to run off and kidnap the baby, right? And then she ran out of there like a bat out of hell, left everything behind, couldn't get her phone back because Julian's sister refused to give it back. And she just never went back. And she never went back for 7 months. You see, that's the thing. There was no, oh, Amari loves Julian's sister. Because there was no relationship, people. The only time there was any kind of so-called relationship between Julian's sister and Amari was under court order after Shimei was murdered. Murdered. If Shimei would not have been murdered, maybe they could have rebuilt their relationship. Maybe. But you see, Julian's sister was a shit disturber before Shimei got murdered. So much so that she didn't even give back Shimei's brand new phone that her dad had bought her. Okay? So why the hell would Shimei want to hang out with her? She didn't. She said, fine, you don't want to give me back my phone, I'm not talking to you no more. Nope, that's it. And there was no relationship. There was no, oh, Amari loves his auntie. No. Because the auntie was more interested in hijacking and stealing Shimei's phone than she was about giving back Shimei's phone to Shimei so that she could build a healthy relationship, people. A healthy relationship with Amari and his family. But if you notice, there is nothing healthy about what's been going on since my daughter has been murdered, okay, when it relates to those people in regards to Julian's sister and whoever she's connected to in terms of Julian's mother and whatever, okay? There is no healthy relationship. That was destroyed when Shimei ran out of that freaking house and left everything behind. Okay, and couldn't even get her freaking cell phone back. And the only reason she went back, people, at 7 months, when Amari was 7 months old, is because Julian's mother, hit up Tisha in the prenatal clinic, telling her to tell Shimei she wants to see the baby. So, and I know this is just the old broken record. How many times have I said it? So what? Shimei saying, I don't want to go back to your mother's house. It makes me feel uncomfortable to be there by myself. Will you please go with me because your mother wants to see the baby? Julian refused to do it, people. He refused to do it. So for 2 weeks, Shimei was asking Julian to go to his mother's house with Shimei so she could take the baby to go see the mother. There was no Tamika in there. There was no Tasty Bonnie. There was no Auntie Tika. It was never about that individual. It was about the mother to them. So finally, Shimei just went on her own, people, because Julian refused to do it. She did it because she had morals and she had respect, for the elderly. I guess you could say, grandma wants to see the baby, daddy doesn't want you to go there, or at least go with me, but, and just be that happy medium, right? So Shimei did it on her own, and look what happened to her, people. Her freaking cigarettes were laced by the very person who is freaking stalking me, my house, my yard, my family. In some sort of delusional state. It's like stupid. It's stupid. So yeah, I'm in my yard planting my food, wondering when this bitch is gonna come on by and just randomly start killing things. Do a video on that since you're stalking my fucking videos. Talk about how you like to kill shit in my yard. You like to post it. You only can post it on BitChute though, can't you? Like, it's stupid. Murray doesn't love you. He doesn't know you. He never did know you. And anything that he was forced to do with you was via court order. That was it. Otherwise, if my daughter was alive, you'd still be kicked to the curb. Because you're dangerous. You're psychotic. You're a freaking lunatic. Like, seriously. Seriously. Babies are not required to love their caregivers. It is the caregivers who love the babies. That's the first rule. The only reason you got those opportunities is because you had a hand in the murder of my daughter. That's it. And if the court throws the shit out before the story is freaking told, I can guarantee you I will file another lawsuit so that the information can get out there and stay out there and save other lives from people like you. Ha! Oh, she's mad. She's mad. Ooh, I feel so empowered. Ooh. No, I'm not fucking mad. I'm taking care of business, bitch. I'm taking fucking care of business, bitch. And this isn't about YouTube views or about monetizing my channel so that I can be a Latrice Allen? Yeah, okay. Some fucking YouTube scam artist? No, this is real fucking life. Sorry, boo-boo life. I don't come in with no skits. I don't come in with no freaking pre-written fucking play. Sorry, boo-boo play. I'm not trying to lead the people down the garden path. I'm telling it like it is. You got a big F on your last video because Amari is never, ever required to love you. So get it out of your head. The only reason he's in that freaking video is because of what you did to my daughter. And you freaking know it. And that's why you did it. But you didn't get away with it. You see, that's the thing. You didn't get away with it. Your family has abandoned Amari a long, long time ago, and I told that to the social worker. Because none of you are interested in looking after a disabled child that takes away from the illusion of the perfect fucking black family from Nova Scotia? You wouldn't even know where to begin. You would go out of your way to make Amari sick just so that you could end up in the hospital and be the center of freaking attention. Time after time after time until a freaking social worker figured it out of what you really are. Just like you showed up right at the hospital with Shemay. Because you freaking knew you were waiting for it to happen. And you had to import yourself just like freaking Julian imported himself in the basement on the day he knocked her on the fucking head. And then he fucking stood there and he injected her and he killed her. Something which you started. Figured it out a long time ago, bitch. Am I mad? No! I'm getting ready for a hard day of work. That's what I'm doing. Because I take care of fucking business. I don't sit there and play games on the computer, roaming around people's freaking yards, poisoning fucking plants, killing off food, doing whatever, just so I can think that I'm what? What do you think you are? Come on, do a video. Do a video. Start. Tell us what you really fucking are. Sorry, boo-boo are. Tell us. We want to know. I'm digging in the fucking dirt. Sorry, boo-boo dirt with a freaking shovel. Planting potatoes. Waiting for you to come kill them. Bitch. So why don't you get up on YouTube and talk about that? Give us a date. So that we know when it happens. Versus just lurking around, planting things around. Because that's the way you are. Huh? These are the conditions I work under. Well, that mother is in complete denial of what her children really are and were. How about that? What, she's still protecting Julian? Oh, Julian didn't do anything. Not my son. Oh, no, no, no. Huh? Two peas in a pod. Julian? Tamika! Two peas in a pod. When is the mother gonna do something about that fucking dirty ass stinking freaking pod that she pumped out of her freaking vagina? Being that she's a mother. Being that she's a mother. If it wouldn't have been for that mother, my daughter would be alive. But you see, that's the thing. That's not true. Because whoever was doing that shit to kill Shemay started before Amari was born. Because I had that dream, people. Amari was just going to be the icing on the cake. Being it was me who pleaded with Shemay to keep him. And she did. And she did the right thing by keeping him. But whether she had him or not, the plot to kill her was already in place before he was even conceived. Because whatever fuels this girl is deep-seated in terms of a demon seed. And it probably has something to do with Freddie. Yeah, probably. Because this girl has a twisted sense of freaking reality and where love fits in on that. So anyway, back to the original broadcast here. So, we were talking about groceries. The kind that you buy in a grocery store. And how expensive it is. In regards to what you think might cost $400 or $500 ends up costing $800. Okay? And even then, $400 or $500, considering what I bought, would have been still too much. But I would have cut it some slack and say, okay, it's the sign of the times. But for it to be $800, people, like seriously, I don't know what I bought in regards to bulk Okay? There was no bulk outside of 2 bags of potatoes at 10 pounds a bag. That was the only thing in bulk. Well, maybe 3 jars of Cheese Whiz. I guess that's a little bulky. You know, well, I did buy bacon. There's 5 packs of bacon, to which I'm just going to have to do that today. You know, I got this meat, I got chicken there, pork chops, something else, and this bacon. And I just know that if I grind up the bacon before I freeze it, it will be much more easier to make meals with it. Because, you know, you just fry it up, and you got the grease, if you want it for whatever else, and, you know, and then you just sprinkle it around, right, in whatever you're doing, right? You could even put it on a sandwich like that, right? I'm just saying. It doesn't have to be frozen in slices or frozen whole. I think I'd be more apt to use it, grind it up. So it's like I have to climb and go get my grinder, and then I'll be like, oh yeah, okay, members and friends, do you remember this? This is old school. This is an old school grinder. I love this grinder. It's from the 1960s, you know? You can never go wrong with equipment like that. You just can't. Appliances like that, you know? They last forever. Right? It's just I have to climb and go get it. I don't want to climb. I've been digging in the dirt. That's all I've been doing, people. Tidying up, looking for buckets. And when my son cut the tree, right, you know, I'm saving the branches and everything, and I'm having to cut, snap, and fill up buckets for the rocket stove, right? Right, so... You know, I'm like working hard. I'm keeping a real hard, steady pace, people. And I'm doing it with, I don't know, like I'm just waiting for this bitch to show up and kill something else. Literally. Like, I can't say it any other way. And she's taunting me, right? Trying to convince herself that Amari loves her, as if it's his job to love her, as if it's his job, his duty to love her. A complete fucking stranger. And the only reason she was in his life was because of a court order. That was it. That was it. She never made no amends with Shimei. She never gave back Shimei's cell phone. She wasn't talking to Shimei. She wasn't coming around because Shimei didn't want her here because the bitch is a thief, right? And a troublemaker, right? And can't be trusted, okay? That's why they had to take out Shimei. Do you understand? That's why Julian and his sister, had to take out Shimei. Only it didn't work out the way they planned it was going to work out after the fact. So anyway, my advice to you, if you haven't done it already, in terms of the homemaker, the one that the caregiver, the one that loves everybody around them. You don't get love back, but you love them, okay? Right? You're gonna have to just keep on with that food prepping. And if you haven't started, you better start. Mark my words. Because if I didn't have the type of food that I have in my house right now, considering, and then buying what I bought, $800, right? I wouldn't even have enough food technically to feed my family for a month. It'd be very sparse. It would be potatoes, bacon, Brazilian nuts, cheese whiz, a few fresh vegetables, some apples and oranges, a couple loaves of bread, you know, a jug of milk, some whipping cream. You wouldn't even get through the month on it. You just wouldn't. But because I have food, like, I don't have to do that again. And if I do, people, let's just say because I get depressed, right? And my comfort, like, I so want to do some canning, like, you don't know. I'm like, okay, do the bacon, right, put it in the freezer and bring up the cod and let the cod unthaw and can it in some nice olive oil and, get on with it, right? That will make you feel better. Do it while you can still see, right? And I'm like, well, hold on a minute. You got court next week and you haven't read up on anything yet. Wait till after court, then think about canning. But I have this really, really strong need to can the turkey, right? To can the cod. I bought some stewing hens. I want to cook up a stewing hen and can that with broth or just whatever, right? I just want to do some canning. Because that's, I don't know, I figure it will help with my depression, right? So I'm trying to fit that in. But, like, when I go to the grocery store, I think I deal with some of my depression that way too, though, right? By, why do you need 3 cheese whiz, Mum? Well, because it's great for Amari, in terms of, and if we use, like, celery sticks with cheese whiz, it goes down pretty fast, right? Like Andre and I, right? Or even Amari, I could grind it up. And, once I went and put the 3 cheese whiz away, and I went into Auntie Shemay's room and I went into the fridge, and there's 2, so I have 5 now. And that's what I know of. There could be more around the house tucked away somewhere, right? I don't know. You don't have to keep them in the fridge when you have them unopened. You can store them someplace else. That's why I'm saying there might be still 1 or 2 or 3 jars someplace else in the house that I just can't remember. Because that's kind of where I'm at with things sometimes when it comes to this food stuff. But I don't have to worry about it for at least a little while. But the thing is, even if I was to go back in 6 months to a year from now, let's just say, to replace that cheese whiz, what am I looking at? $10 a jar? Assuming that you can even find it, because we really don't know what's going to happen when it comes to that manufactured global crises that's creating poverty en masse versus prosperity and community wealth outside of select ethnic groups that have the wealth where other ethnic groups don't, per se. Bought this. No. I think I have something else around, but anyway, that's ground up flax seeds. I'll show you what costed me $32. These things better not be stale. If they're stale, I'll be mad. Yeah. I don't know exactly what well, I guess there is something here that tells you the calorie count on them. Oh. So a 1/3 cup is 380 calories. This is Brazilian nuts. Looks like 380 calories for 1/3 cup, or 50 grams. $32. What's funny about this, though, is when we were going through the cash register, right? At the cash register, you know, she says, oh, well, you know, because I'm like, how much, as she's going through the bill, right? And we get to a certain point, and I said, okay, well, how much? She goes, oh. And then she goes, oh, those Brazilian nuts were $32. I go, what? $32? $32 for that. And I'm like, oh, okay, right? And she says, well, I can take one back, right? And Tisha pipes in, no, just let her have it. And I look at Tisha, as if you're the authoritarian over me, as if I need your permission in order to keep this. But we all bursted out laughing, right? Because it was funny the way she did it, the way she just piped in. Oh no, just because I'm like $32, and like, well, let me see what I'm paying $32 for. And Tisha, oh no, just leave her, just let her have it, just let her have it, because Tisha knows, right? All right. So anyway, let's taste these. And of course, I bought them in mind for Amari because of, I give him cashews, but I thought I'd try and introduce a different kind of nut, right? For that calorie count. Not because I'm trying to get him to love me, but because I love him. And I'm thinking a nut or two in a meal no, that's pretty good. It would be good for him. Like 2 nuts. I don't know. I have a weight scale. I'd have to weigh it out. I wouldn't give him 1/3 cup. But, I'm still working on the quote-unquote Amari's cookbook. So we're going to introduce Brazilian nuts into that meal preparation. Like, you could blend those in with broccoli. I'm tasting it, right? 2 nuts blended in with a bunch of broccoli or something like that. Any kind of vegetable, really. That can go well with any kind of vegetable. With a bunch of butter. Or you could blend that in with coconut butter and something else. Like, you could even put those in with the banana. Well, maybe not the banana. But something that's more easily digestible, like blueberries. Right? Blueberries are really good for digestion. And because it's a nut, you just finely grind it up. And then when the blueberry you grind up, and that would work actually really good. So I'm going to get some frozen blueberries from downstairs, and I'm going to try it. Right? And I think it's going to work out really good. And it gives him those extra calories and nutrients and whatever that he needs. But at $32, like, come on, people. All right? But if it works, because I already have food in the house. You see, that's the thing, though. I went to the grocery store, spent $800, and I don't know. I just didn't get very much for your money. It just didn't seem like it. But I'm at the point where, if I go again, which at some point I probably will in the next 6 months, all right, I'll make sure I have like $600, $700, $800 on me. We'll just say in 6 months from now or so, like I'll plan for a big shop. I better have, in 6 months from now, you'll need $1,000 for what you bought today at $800. So within 6 months or more or so, I'll make sure I have $1,000 on me, cold cash, so I can go to some big box store and buy more so in bulk to fill the gaps, right? In terms of, like, I don't have to buy oatmeal forever, for a long, long time. I don't have to buy wheat for a long, long time. I don't have to buy any kind of beans for a long, long time. I don't have to really buy meat if I don't want to for a long, long time. There's really not much that I need to buy outside of just topping off. Like, I've got 5 jars of Cheese Whiz now, which is good. Right? That puts me in a comfort zone. That's what, for me, that's what alleviates the pressure of depression, right? It's my sense of safety when it comes to the long-term aspects of living and dealing with poverty. For other people that have lots of money, you know, I suppose it doesn't affect them and they don't care, right? If they pay $800 for 6 bags of groceries, right? Right? You know, and they can do that every 2 weeks. It's not a big deal because, you know, their incomes are high. I suppose it's different, but then now we're going to end it on the fear porn. Okay? We're going to take it back to the beginning of the video where if you don't do the food prep, you see, this is the thing. If you don't do the food prep, and if the shit really hits the fan, and war breaks out, and it's close to home, to where it adversely affects your local economy, you're going to wish that you did food prep. Because when you do go to the grocery store, there's going to be a high probability that you're not going to find what you're looking for. And if you do, it's going to be rationed, right? And no amount of money is going to get you what you need. Right? For the ones that got the money right now, that don't care if they spend that kind of money because it's just a drop in a bucket, you know, great. It's a capitalistic society, and some of us are born with silver spoons in our mouths, and some of us get better chances in life, and or whatever, while others, you know, end up in that. Because I'm kind of disconnected to the I don't want to even call it the medium income, because it's not the medium income in terms of on a provincial level, because the medium income is only about 45,000, maybe 50,000 a year in terms of a medium income. Right? You got to be in that middle class to where, you know, you go to the grocery store, and if you got to pay $800 for what I bought, but your income is 3 times more or 4 times more than, say, my income, I could see how it wouldn't, I don't want to say upset them as much as it would me. Right? And it's not that it upset me, because it didn't. I'm just amazed. I'm amazed that whatever the disparities that are going on in the economy and what's around me, obviously I'm sheltered from it, right? So when I go out and I experience it like I did, I'm in awe, right? I don't know really what to think about it outside of what I see on the internet when it comes to that chipping away of the supply chain, and inflation is just another means to control the ultimate collapse, if you want to take it to the ultimate fear porn. And if it should come to that, then yeah, you want to be in a position where you can have food in your house, whether you can it yourself or you buy in bulk cans, whatever, right, from the grocery store, okay, and you have it tucked away for a rainy day, or whether you grow it and then process it outside your house, but you might have to bring it inside your house. Doesn't matter how big your house is, you should be looking around where you can grow microgreens if you have to. Because there might come a time where we still have grocery stores, quote unquote, but they just won't be affordable for those below a certain income level. That's another factor we have to think about, right? And I'm sure lots of people are already faced with that issue in terms of they go, because when I was going through the teller, right? Got up to like, we'll say $400, and I'm like, okay, well, just hold on a minute. Like, the voucher is only $300. Let's just finish and start fresh. She said, oh, no, that's okay. We can just keep running. And then you can pay with another card on top of, so first the voucher, then a card, then another card, and then Tisha's. So it took 4 payments under one bill to complete the transaction. And she said that a lot of people do that. Hold on a minute. So yeah, she was saying a lot of people do that. And I can understand why. Serious. I can understand why. Because it's just so expensive. Right? My shopping carts weren't even full, people. And one shopping cart at the bottom had a whole bunch of dirt, because I'm in the yard planting and doing whatever, right? At $3 a bag. And there wasn't that many bags. So it wasn't like my cart was stacked full, because it wasn't. So I don't know. Anyway, you have to keep working on your preps, okay? Build in something where worst case scenario should happen and the fear porn becomes reality, right? Just try and ease in some means to grow the food outside of the summer months through some sort of a hydroponic system, with or without hydro. Whether it's outside, which wouldn't be feasible in the winter, so you're going to have to try and figure out how to do it inside your house. Just as a backup, just in case, in light of all the negativity that's going on in our communities and within the world itself. Because right, and especially for those in Canada, that watch this video, right, or these whatever, right, like we're because our population isn't as dense as it is in the United States, right? We're not going to feel the effects as quickly as a large majority in the United States are going to feel it once things really start coming to a grinding halt. We're not there yet because there's still gas being sold in the gas stations, right? You know what I'm saying? But we're also not replacing what we're using. You see, that's the thing. So there's going to come a time when you just won't be able to get it. I'm just using that as an example. And once that happens, then of course that trickles out into the grocery stores and those kind of places, to where, You might have to grow microgreens just to be able to have a vegetable in your diet. I'll just use that as a simple example. Outside of having your canned beans and your canned tomatoes and your pickles or whatever it is that maybe you grew in your garden over the summer months, right? You got to think about what you're going to do in the winter. So what I'm trying to say is, people, is basically as I'm working in the yard, I still got it on my head where and how, if and when can I set up like something inside the house in terms of the hydroponics, right? Where it doesn't have to be a big space, but it's just got to be a little space so that, you know, I can supplement my meals without having to go to the grocery store. So I got some hoses because I'm going to try and set up something outside. I'm going to try. I haven't had time yet because, you know, there's other things I got to do out there. Now, whether I get to do it or not remains to be seen because I'm going by the least resistance, whatever's the easiest, right, in terms of just get it done. But I have the equipment, you can see. I'm going through the yard. You know, I'm going through buckets. As a matter of fact, I could probably use a couple of these buckets for hydroponics if I wanted to. Like, I could grow a nice tomato plant in a bucket through hydroponics. I can do with irrigation with the little pumps, which I might do. I have the grow lights, right? You see, you have to build onto it, right? These are these little connectors, right? And I bought, I think it's called a float valve. There's two of them in here. Don't know nothing about it. So, just so that Andre can learn too, right? And then after we get these two going, you can make your own through the cracking method with wood and yogurt containers and that kind of stuff. But I don't quite understand the physics around it yet, so I just kept it simple and bought two of them to get Andre and I started. Right? But you have to keep in mind, as the economy gets worse, out comes the freaks. Whether they have personal vendettas against you or not, they're going to sabotage or try to sabotage what you have because they can't go do it for themselves. And they're nothing more, nothing less than thieves. And they will try and rob you if they don't try and kill you. Okay? Just keep that in mind. Right? So, little things like this. Okay, so there's the exercise for the day. I think now I'm pushing the hydroponics right now because I know where I'm at in the stage of the game when it comes to food prep. Okay, I just need to up the. Hold on a minute. Okay, so let me finish this video, and then we're gonna. I'll get into the meat, okay? Well, I'll do a little video like the good old days with that old meat grinder because, trust me, first of all, people, I don't even know where that meat grinder is. I can only assume. If I have to get into that small bathroom and start digging around for that little meat grinder, I'll be so choked. I know I have two of them, right? Why are you buying multiples, Mom? Well, depending on what it was. If it was working on a nonprofit, I had to have like 10, 15, 20 things of the same thing just because of the numbers of kids that I used to work with. Or in the case of the meat grinder, you know, you buy in the thrift store the meat grinder, you like it. Years later, you come across another one that's got a few extra parts and it's cheap, you buy it. So that if one breaks, you have another one, plus you get the extra parts. I love that meat grinder. Just I haven't used it for well over a year, and I don't even know where it is. I think I might know, and I'm so hoping I know where it is. It will make life so much more simpler if I can just go get it, but I have to climb for it, and I'm achy. You see, that's the thing. I'm achy because I've been like in a gym, I've been bodybuilding, and I have no body fat, and I don't eat enough myself in order to build muscle, so I'm losing my muscle. Like I'm losing, well, no, I wouldn't say I'm losing my muscle as I'm losing the body fat, and that's in part because of the aging process as well, right? Our skins start to change. You know? Anyway, the exercise for those in a survival mode that have a sense of, what is that called? Foresight? You can see ahead of you. Hindsight's behind you. Foresight's in front of you. You have to get into the foresight and look ahead. And just as a backup, in light of all this fear porn that we're being exposed to on a daily basis through various different news sources, okay? And with our own personal experiences going out in the community and having to pay for things just so that we can have normality in our life when it comes to quote-unquote food, that kind of stuff, right? You got to have that foresight. Even if you don't use it right away, you want to have it on hand so that if you really have to, you can grow your own microgreens to supplement whatever it is that you have in the house in regards to that food prep that you've been working on for however long you've been working on it. Because even if you're at a medium income in terms of, we'll just cap it at $55,000 a year, you know, you're going to need to do stuff like this to improve the quality of your life and the life of your family. If you're above $55,000 a year and you're rocking with $250,000 a year in terms of an income, and then if it's a dual income, yeah, to boot, oh, well, I suppose it wouldn't matter if you go to the grocery store and, you know, it's going to cost $800 just to buy 4 bags of grocery versus 8 or 7 or 6. You know what it made me think of? You know when you go into a grocery store, well, no, I'm sorry, it's not a grocery store. You know when you go someplace and they have a display of fake food? Because it's like a seminar of some kind. So versus having real food on display, they would have fake food on display. It kind of made me think that that's what it's going to come to for a lot of people going into the grocery store with limited income and not being able to fulfill their food bill order. And they're going to walk by the food, aisle to aisle, wherever they go in that store, and it's going to be like one big display of fake food because it's not anything that they can afford to buy, eat, or anything. They'll just look at it. That's it. That's all they're going to do. Go in, look around, walk out empty-handed. Right? So it made me think of fake food. Like the grocery store full of fake food because you can't afford to buy anything in there. It may come to a point like that for more than just a few under that caste system. And then eventually, if things keep up the way they are, it might take a few years. It still might take a few years. But it's just going to take one major war to break out to have that domino effect kick in where fear porn becomes reality. And we're in a global depression where, I don't want to say survival of the fittest, but, you know, you better be prepared. So yeah, get your. You don't have to spend a lot of money, right? Look around for some old buckets. Keep your tubs before you throw them away. Just keep them, like, learn a little bit about how to do the hydroponics with or without hydro, right? If you use hydro, you can bring in a little bit of irrigation through little pumps and stuff like that. And I mean, obviously you'll need grow lights, unless of course you rely on your window and use heat lamps, and there's different means of ways of going around things, but you definitely should do that. And then, I'm, like I said, like, I struggle with depression. I know I got court next week. It is so hard for me to see people. You don't know. But I'm just doing, okay? I'm just doing, I guess, until I just can't do anymore. And then that's when I'll say, I just can't do it. You're going to have to do the eye surgery. It's a hit and miss whether the cataract surgery will improve my eyes or not. But as it is, they're deteriorating week by week. But, I have responsibilities. And much of what I do, I've been doing for years. So it's not that I can't do it. It's just, it's harder to do it. And I have to go slow. Sometimes I really have to, what do you call it? I have to go like this to make sure that I'm not walking into things. Right? Or I have to watch where I'm walking, because I guess it's my 3D vision, something. I can't see when something dips in the cement. So if I'm walking and I come to something that dips, it's right? All right. Right? So, anyway, one day at a time. But yeah, in terms of, for me, fighting depression, food is my weapon. Well, I mean, come on. What mother doesn't love food, right? So I think, I know I shouldn't do it, but I have to do it. You see, that's the thing. I'm on a schedule and I'm already late on it, right? I think after I do this bacon and everything, I'm going to do a little video on it, right? And I'm ready to put it in the freezer the way I want it, already grounded up and everything, because I got plans for it, right? There's the cod. I think I'm just going to pull them up, bring them up, let them unthaw in the fridge, because I have jars in my bathroom that I just got to get rid of, in terms of use them up and put them downstairs, right? Empty jars, right? Canning jars. They've been sitting there for months. But I'm going to get on it. Yeah. So here's the olive oil that I bought for it a long, long, long time ago, right? Unopened. And I'm going to make some of them with hickory smoke. So some will be just with olive oil and a bit of salt, and some will be with olive oil, a bit of salt, and a little bit of that. Oh boy, that will be so, so good. Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. And it will be great to supplement meals with. And it doesn't cost me anything, because I already have it. I have the jars, I have the canner, right? I've got the fish. It's been sitting there for, what, a year and a half now? Because I didn't buy fish this year, right? I bought it not this year, but last year. So yeah, I need to do something with it. And I've been wanting to do this, right? And it nags at me. You see, that's the thing. It nags at me, which if I don't get on with it soon enough, I'm going to get depressed because I haven't done it. And in my head, I'm like, oh, you're behind on this and you're behind on that. But, oh, it's just canned fish. It's already frozen. It's fine. Yeah, but at the end of the day, I'm pretty sure if I was to do it this way, and if I really, really liked it, oh my God, could you imagine having that, right? Hickory smoke, right? With the olive, okay? And then the cod, right? I got the black cod and the other fish there. I can't even remember what it is. Anyway, with a nice side vegetable. I don't know what. and a few of those kind of finely chopped up. Oh, that would be so good. So good. A little salad on the side. Oh. So yeah, I think I'm going to just put my head on it, and so I might be canning in the next 3 days. Because it's only going to take a day, day and a half for it to unthaw. Canning fish, you have to do it for like 100 to 110 minutes. But once it's done, it's done. And then I can get on, plus I've been wanting to do the lard. But I'm like, don't take on too much on your plate right now because you're in the yard. You know, I'm working really hard in the yard right now, trying to play catch up. But the main priority is just putting things in the ground, hoping that we'll have an extended summer, to which I think we will, because we had a late, very, very late spring. Right? It's a hit and miss. You know, it would have been foolish on my part to not at least try. Well, I was planting potatoes yesterday. That's all I've been doing, is planting potatoes for the last week. And a little onions, and, you know, just trying to hide the shit, you know? Trying to hide it, people. Hoping that that bitch won't come by into my yard and fucking start pouring her bleach or whatever else that she uses to injure and destroy things with, right? You know, as she's like in complete denial, as if. Okay, so we'll end it on this, as if. All right. Oh, look at that. I lost my glasses. I'm looking for my glasses. Ugh. This is her more recent video. It says, what does it say? Amari Johnson at New Nations Unity, he loves his Auntie Tika. Like I said, he's not required to love anybody. Okay? And the only reason he was with you people was because my daughter was murdered. Otherwise, you wouldn't have this video. Okay? How does this work? Where are we? See? Bitch doesn't quit. Do you see? She doesn't quit, people. Because she's retarded.